Call this meeting to order. Sorry, we're late. We're waiting on one more to do a quorum, so we won't be able to vote until Dean shows up. So we'll go through your presentations and everything else while he's there. Please take note that this meeting is in order. Sorry, we're late. We're waiting on one more to do a quorum, so we won't be able to vote until Dean shows up. I've said that.
This is a repeat. Okay.
Do I have to start over or just keep going? Please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded, and recordings will be made available on the town's YouTube channel. Ask that if you have your phones put to mute, please. And also, the green lights here are the speakers in the ceiling, and it will pick up people talking in the background. So if you're talking amongst yourselves, we get in trouble because it sometimes picks them up. So I ask if anyone has a culinary interest that they declared at the proper time. Delegations, we have Mr. Turth, president of the Panthera Athletic Club. So if you would like, please come up and give us your. Great spot.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm kind of new to this, so if I do make any mistakes,
You're in the right spot.
Yeah, we make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, so pretty much the idea, I run a athletic club, just trying to do sports as much as I can, just getting people out there. Main thing is the idea was to was like a business idea for my college thesis, which was how do you get young people involved in, you know, the economy and GDP and stuff of that nature. So wanted to come up with an idea where we can run a pickleball tournament at McKay Park, and then other various sports as well, such as, you know, there's a Brazilian futsal tournament at the McKay Park, which you have the perfect enclosed kind of diamond. So, yeah. And kind of using those facilities and then trying to do any sort of tournaments to bring, you know, kids back to play and making use of our older athletes as our current coaches, referees, and getting them that summer job or that, you know, that weekend job as well. So that's the idea. And kind of looking, I don't know, this is my first time, so I just kind of asking the whole township.
Say the letter spells it out. Any questions from the floor or from the? I'm looking at you, so I'm gonna guess we start with Nettie.
Okay, yeah, so he regularly Thursdays at Lakeshore Park for beach volleyball. It's already booked. They've indicated that they wanted everything. So they leave. So did you change it to another night or something like that? Or
To be honest, I was just shooting in the dark, seeing
I see, okay.
whatever comes up. Whatever, yeah, whenever, however we can kind of collaborate. This is my first year at it as well, so I've just like shot if we could do pickleball or this or that, everyone that works best. Yes, if it's Thursday nights are booked, I can look at another night as well.
And what is Brazilian style? What's that last word?
Would kind of prefer Mr. You know, De Silva kind of to let us know and kind of intrigue us on the because he's really good at it.
He's putting me on the spot.
I think you should demonstrate.
If you bring a soccer ball out, I'll demonstrate it for
Oh,
you.
okay.
It's basically indoor soccer without walls. So there's lines and everything, but it's
Okay.
played with a ball that doesn't bounce as much as a regular soccer ball was because you're playing on a hard surface.
Okay. That's two questions, but I think if you have your teams and you book your times, that it shouldn't be a problem.
Sounds good.
But that's my ideas. Hold on. I'm done for now.
Yeah, through the chair, if, just to provide some context, like the volleyball courts out at Lakeshore Park. You can book them, but they're intended to be used for not for profit, so not organized leagues per se, and I'm not sure if Panthera Athletic Club, what their business model is, but I'm assuming that there's a little bit of a profit involved in it. So any use of our facility should probably accompany an agreement and some type of fee. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, because currently we don't even have a thing for booking those courts. Tennis
For-
courts and stuff like that.
We do not, they're first come, first serve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question was too, is the for-profit piece. And the other piece, I think blends into that is insurance, because if it's an organized tournament or league, we have to make sure there's some liability insurance that's not the town's. And then ideally not, I wouldn't want to get to a point where we're monopolizing our parks for-profit enterprises. We want to make sure they're still open, but I have no problem trying something out and see if something works for a night a week or something, but in the end, we want to make sure the parks are available for community. But the insurance part was my main question.
The only question I have that was not asked is, like, where are you situated out of?
Right now, we are out of Petrolia.
Oh, okay.
But I just kind of live there. I started there. And yeah.
And it'll be people from everywhere.
Yeah, we people from Plympton, like, yeah,
You can get 'em.
whoever could wants to come in, try it out, have fun. Just wanted to reiterate fees and insurance. I currently already run this on the volleyball and soccer side. So I do pay, you know, these I book courts, so fees, no problem. Insurance, I already have them because I have to provide those. I can most definitely provide it because I did it with last year. I did it with Enniskillen Township. So it was the same.
Okay.
Problem.
No more questions? I do have a motion, but like I say, we can't do anything till Dean comes. I think when we do vote, we'll work through Paul and see if you can get this to go or not, but
Maybe bring something back that's, you know, this day at this park.
yeah.
Yeah, through the chair, I think that's a good idea, is that if this motion does pass, we'll work directly with Tirth to establish what exactly he's trying to do, what days he's trying to do it, and then we'll come back with an agreement that can be indoors as well.
No, I'm just kind of currently trying out the pickleball idea at John Knox School. So I'm doing it from May to June. I've booked and everything. So I'm gonna try it out, see how it works, and then I'll let you guys know. So we could just do it outdoors.
Yeah, perfect.
What is hockey? In McKay, that's
Mondays. That's just Monday. You have any more questions? Good. Like I say, we can't do anything to it till Dean gets here, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, 3.2 is no longer, so we'll jump to 3.3, which is the Girl Guides. Want to come up and do a presentation? Hi.
Hello, my name is Celeste. I'm Sophie. I am Ryder. This is our pollinator garden proposal. Enhancing biodiversity and supporting local ecosystems, presented by the First Wyoming Grove. Why pollinators matter. Pollinators, like bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds, are crucial for reproduction. 1 in 3 bites we eat depends on pollinators, biodiversity and plant reproduction, and healthy ecosystems. The problem. Decline in pollinator pollutions due to habitat loss, pesticide usage, and climate change. Dire consequences for food systems and natural environments. Proposed solution. Create a pollinator-friendly garden. Native plants to attract and support pollinators. Pesticide-free zone. Educational signage for public awareness. Location and design. We think O'Brien Park, corner of Jane Street and First Street, would be an ideal location. Other suggestions, an area on the Wyoming Reese's Corners Trail, sample garden layout, zones for bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, water sources, and shelter. Plant selection. Emphasis on native and seasonal plants. Example, milkweed for monarchs, coneflowers, bee balm, and lavender. Emphasis on a selection of blooming plants throughout seasons to support pollinators from spring till fall. Budget and materials. Estimate cost for an 8-foot by 4-foot garden. Plants, 12 to 20 plants for good coverage, 1 per 1.5 to 2.5 square feet. Cost per plant, $5 to $15. Total cost, $100 to $300. Soil improvements and mulch need approximately 5 to 6 cubic feet, cost $50 to $70. Signage and edging, black plastic edging cost approximately $25, signage $120. Funding source $600, outdoor subsidy ran from Girl Guides Ontario. Community benefits. Hands-on education for our girl members and community. It beautifies the area, promotes environmental stewardship, and supports local biodiversity. Timeline. Planning, April 28th to May 11th, 2025. Site prep, May 12th to May 25, 2025. Planting, May 26th, 2025. Mulching and edging will be on June 2nd, 2025, if not completed on the planting day. Call to action, request for an approval from the Parks and Rec Department. Invite community volunteers and partners. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Questions from the floor? We'll start. Either here or there.
Great job. I think you guys are better presenters than I am. Didn't nervous at all, so great job. I think it's a great idea. I don't see any issues with call to action. The Parks, I'm sure staff will confirm, but I love the idea.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea, girls.
Good job. Anything else?
Well, we can make motions. I don't know.
Make sure I didn't. No, the only one I have is just working with all the park and where it would best be situated, but that's easy. Welcome, Dean.
Very tardy.
No, it's all right. We're happy you're here. If not, we're all going out. There's no 3.38.
Thank you.
So now the Dean is here. I have a motion by Alex, seconded by Nettie, that the Parks and Rec Committee direct staff to work with the Wyoming Girl Guides on the pollinator garden proposal planting in spring of 2025 under the $600 outdoor subsidy grant from the Girl Guides of Ontario.
One question, if I may, is it definitely gonna,
No,
but that's what the suggestion was.
We had suggested that, but we're open
Okay,
to
so you're
whatever
anything, all right, that's good.
we want. We were just like throwing an idea out there.
So I was just sort of wondering about Donkers Park down there, you know, it's pretty, it's a nice open space there, and anyway.
We'll find a
You guys
spot.
will,
Sounds good.
And it does just say work with
Okay.
staff, so
yes, thank you.
all in favor? Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
Glad to see it happen.
Dean, did you get a chance to have a look at Hans?
Where?
There,
Yeah, you guys.
we did a presentation.
No.
What is it? You could- They come back to us anyways, once.
Yeah.
It would, yeah.
I have a motion by Nettie. Second by somebody. Want to use the tennis courts for either futsal or football. It'd be a paid I've got profit sharing, so they would come back and staff to do an agreement up for it. So we'll get to see it again. Sure.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Nettie, seconded by Alex, that the Parks and Rec Committee direct staff to work with the Panthera Athletic Club for seeking spaces for the summer and fall of 2025 to host sports tournaments and clinics. All in favor? Thank you.
To leave if you'd like. I'll likely reach out to you.
Thanks a lot.
Just a minute, what do you call your place? Is it Pantera or Panthera?
So I took it from the DNA of the animal, so.
From the
And
Panther.
actually, it's the jaguar. Sorry,
Jaguar is.
it is a panther, but to identify jaguar, the DNA name is Panthera
Okay,
or Lewis. It's the last end of it, so that's just the name.
all right, thank you.
Thanks. Well, you're gonna argue with them. Are you here for Wyoming Ball?
I am, yeah.
All right, you're up. 3.4 Wyoming Ball is discuss the upcoming season.
So that was a tough presentation to follow.
That won't be anything close to that, because I found out at like 4:15 that Matt couldn't make it, so. He's moving his daughter home from university. Just a quick update, minor ball, we got over 400 kids again enrolled for minor ball. And everybody's calling right now to get on the diamond because the sun's shining, so. Gonna be another busy summer at the parks, which is a good thing. I'm not sure what, Matt, he sent me with a few things, so. Just in terms of getting the diamond ready to get teams and kids on the diamond. He was wondering about a load of red dirt again. Canton Park, just to be dumped or whatever to get things going.
You need that for the beginning of the season or just very soon?
Not diamond maintenance is gonna be going on to get people out there, so whenever it gets there.
I just sent a guy down with a truck to pick up a load when it's really needed, so.
Yeah, no, it's
Dump it in that bunker.
anytime you can do that would be good.
Work for Kamlaki as well. Are you in dire need of red dirt?
They also want a pallet of clay.
A load of clay, yes. I'm just saying, imagine you're getting half a load each kind of thing. Okay,
And there was a question about the plywood around the dugouts over here at Centennial that is disintegrating and brittle, and wondered if we could either use the money or whatever to buy that ourselves, or whether you guys would provide some sheets and Brian would put it all up around the dugout just to keep the stones and whatever out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And there was a request if there's a timeline set already for rolling the diamonds or the grass.
Roller is out now.
Okay.
Should be coming this way very shortly.
Okay.
So, they finished out in the Kamlaki area there just last week, so.
Okay, sounds good. And just a question about water in the bathrooms when it gets turned on before
It's Tuesday as well.
Tuesday. Perfect.
Not guaranteeing that one specifically, but they're working the water.
That's fine. We just had our coaches meeting the other night and they're chomping at the bit. We don't want them to be out there with no washrooms and have kids going to the bathroom elsewhere. Canton lights. I know we had problems last year. They were on today for 17 minutes and they've turned off again. So if that can be looked at before we get games. I know last year we had some problems, and then we are hosting 13U and senior men's provincial championships in August here again. And then there was a question about, I don't know if you probably went by the diamond after the last big rains and the area by the booth there. I don't know, the drainage is whatever, plugged or whatever, but the booth and the dressing room and the equipment room had 4 inches of water all through it. So I'm not sure if anything can be done there or how that may impact if the new washrooms are being built in that area too, whether it poses a problem with future drainage. And then it was just if there was a timeline, if the new bathrooms, if it's kind of spring or fall or what was happening with that.
Through the chair, we're gonna be discussing that tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, so that the intent would be if it is approved tonight and it goes to council at the next meeting, it would be starting 4 to 5 weeks after that.
Okay, so May, June, or July. Okay. Perfect.
Back to your light issue, I did meet with Brian and we had Lockhart Electric over there
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago. I had him in town. We were talking back and forth and Brian was to let Craig Lockhart know about the issue and then they were gonna try and see what they could do with that one, the left field light pole.
Okay.
I think that one's the primary issue.
Yeah.
We thought, because there was a blown switch out of the road, we thought maybe that might have been part of the problem. It's shutting down again.
Okay.
We'll get back a hold of Lockhart and see if there's some kind of a temporary fix.
So you want me to leave that with you guys or do you want me to have?
Yeah, I'll reach out to Lockhart and let him know that what you said and he'll probably reach out with to Brian or something like that.
That's all I have on my list that I got sent, so.
We have, it is on our near future about the replacing them and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, they're due.
It's a big expense, but
Yeah, it's huge expense. Yeah. We have to do a fundraiser kind of thing. Yeah, I was at it last year and I was right under that light there.
it went out, yeah.
It'd go off.
I was trying to umpire and it's not good when you have lights going out and trying to see the. The other option may be, and I'm kind of letting this out of the bag, but the Field of Dreams program through the Blue Jays. I have been successful through school to get a diamond built at our school
Oh, right on.
through that for 150,000, but you can also apply as a community or whatever. And it could be just, we need lights and we can put a proposal together or a video or whatever and fill out that application. And if they like our application, that could be up to 150,000 that can go towards it. So.
Yes, yeah, through the chair. We did apply for a grant for those lights already, but I'll look at this program to see if there's an opportunity to cover the balance because we were gonna be on the hook for some of that.
Yeah, because I think it starts in, like I started in September. And then there's all these checkpoints all throughout the year. And then it kind of shuts down end of January and then they do their decision-making process. But if you can get
And free money.
150,000 money, it's free money and that's good. So
Yeah, I think.
the only thing is you got to wear a Jay's hat after.
Too, right? This one had LED.
Just the lights and then with the pole, we're closer to 3 or 350 yet.
If successful, we could cut it in half, I guess, right?
Yeah. Free money's free money.
Exactly.
Good on.
All right, thanks very much.
Lucky.
And like. All right, good evening. Thank you for inviting me in. Again, we're ramping up too for a good baseball season. We are hosting this year the 11U and 13U boys in August. And we have the 11U girls as well at the Diamond in Kamlaki. We also have John Knox in May. We have Church July, DeBoer 2-pitch, 3 days in August, long weekend. The athletic awareness slow pitch tournament is the September long weekend. And we want you to know that the canteen will be open for the Plympton-Wyoming Events Canada Day at the park as well. So that was kind of nice there. This year we are supporting 10 teams, 3 girls and 7 boys, and we have 36 instructional on Saturday mornings. So we're very, very busy. I just want to give a shout out to our friends over in the Wyoming. They had reached out to us about the use of Lakeshore. And I know Al's been working really hard over there at Lakeshore and we said that we would do anything that we could to help out and share the diamond over there, providing that the repairs were made and it looks like they were, and everything is drying up as it should this time of year. So we're working with them to get them some practice days on the Lakeshore Diamond as well. So thank you very much there, Al, for all that good work over there. So a couple things that we would like to talk about tonight is, to kind of give you a heads up with monies going forward. We as well have to do a top dressing on diamonds 1, 2, and 3 at Arnold, okay? And we're also looking at doing some work at Lakeshore, with the tile that was trenched in. We are gonna have to go back out there and do a little surface work as well. Now Lakeshore is a multi-use diamond, and we do have a portable or movable mount. So part of our kind of ask this year as funding, even if it's possible, is to build a permanent mound for the boys teams to play out there. So it's strictly a hardball diamond. That's where we play all our hardball. So the U15 boys are out there and the 18 boys are there. And currently we're using a portable mount. Now it's not that it's not doing a good job, but there is a safety issue for the kids stepping off that mound or going when they're making the pitch, right? Between the surface area and the mound where it ties into it's just nailed into the dirt surface. So we'd kind of like your blessing to kind of move forward with that, to see if we can get that to happen, to put in a permanent mound out there. So that shouldn't change things. I know it's a multi-use diamond, but basically the portable unit stays out there most of the time anyway. So the distance between 2-pitch and hardball is significantly different anyway. So I don't think that would cause a major inconvenience for those groups using it, right? So we'll leave that with you for the time being. So like I said, the stuff that we'd kind of like to talk about and discuss or apply our monies to is the top dressing there of 1, 2, and 3. We did do a fairly aggressive fix on those diamonds last year, but as you know, over time, the clay settles. The kids use the diamond all year, and it's time that we kind of go out there and do like a weed intervention and just make things pretty for the kids, I guess, right? We did talk about sharing a half load with Wyoming of the red clay, but we also are asking for the bag, the Washington ball mix for the bags. And the reason that is that we have to redo our home plate at each of the diamonds. So that'll be Lakeshore as well. So all 4 diamonds will be included in that as to get a redo at home plate. So there's that going forward. The only other thing that we kind of wanted to talk about with you guys is there was a safety issue with the fencing and at Lakeshore, and we know that it's a huge amount of money, but the yellow caps, did you have a chance to look at the yellow caps that you did?
And actually, for the amount of fencings that's there,
Yes.
I do believe I may have enough yellow, big old fence cap that we purchased from Simpson Fencing there a few years ago. We topped a little bit of Nettie's Park over there. So if you're okay with that, we can.
Yeah, 100%.
See if we can get that going and make it work for now.
Great, that's perfect. And then I know that Wyoming had an issue with their lights. Obviously, we'd like to kind of piggyback on that. I guess that part of the issue was that the poles were unsafe and they're moving into an LED situation. So if there's any kind of room or a chance to kind of be heard or be on the team to look at additional lighting, if you're buying 1 or 2, and it could be buying or look at what we need for Kamlaki. We only have the 1 diamond at Kamlaki that's in late use, and if that's the case, great. And if we have to kind of put that on the back burner, that's fine. But we just want an opportunity to be included in any purchases if moving forward, if that's a better deal instead of buying for 1 diamond, right? Other than that, Al and I did talk before the meeting, and we got some things on the go there with Lakeshore and the clay behind the clubhouse and stuff like that. So we'll work on that. But I guess in the meantime, we're just looking for a green light to go ahead on 2 things right now, is the diamond cleanup. the resurfacing and stuff like that. And the opportunity to put in a permanent mound at the lake shore.
Questions? I've already done two first.
Installation of the mound, the permanent mound,
Yes.
at whose expense?
Well, we'd like the opportunity to fish that out for quotes, right? And then once we get that figured out, we'd like the opportunity to use our grant that we have every year to put towards that. So it'll be a combination of the mound itself and the dressings on the other three diamonds. So, and then,
Yeah, I've got no issues with that. Hey, Rob. My question, I think I asked last night, I can't remember if we knew the answer, if we were gonna look into it. For those lights in Kamalaki, is it a possibility to retrofit only for the lights? Are the posts in good shape?
Yeah, they're steel posts, and they appear to be in.
Cause if I remember correctly, that's the expensive part. So the retrofit is not nearly as expensive.
Still a couple $100,000.
For the one diamond.
Like to go LED. 75, if I remember right.
We did get a quote for it. I just can't remember off the top of my head how much it cost.
It's still a good chunk, but
Oh, no, for sure, but it's nice to know that the posts are still good.
I think that was the one main issue that Wyoming had that we didn't have, is that the poles were in kind of rough shape as well, right? So we're fairly good. The lights they are working, they're just, they're not, LED or the latest and greatest, and it costs us money to run those lights, and obviously we don't mind doing that for the ball to be played, but if we're looking at other things and it's easier to do a big lump sum, then we'd like I said, we'd like to be included in that process. So.
any questions, Nate?
No, none.
I have none.
The water fill like, drinking fountain, was that part of the 5,000 or?
It wasn't, but I was asked to get prices on it.
Yes.
Those tonight. So if you want me to go through them.
Sure.
That's the next item
The next item, we can.
after.
Let's do.
Just jump right into it.
Yeah, we're there now, 5.1, which is the water fill quote.
So I reached out again to the original quoter, it was Sarnia Plumbing and Mechanical. They provided me with another installation of the water fill station. It was $3,900 plus HST. That's product and installation. I also reached out to one of our suppliers, CIPG out of Sarnia. She gave me a number of quotes, but one of them was very cheap, but it was an interior fountain, so we won't even go there with that one. The other two was for the product only, $3,270, and the other one was $5,880. So those ones would both require installation, which I would probably, because we do use Sarnia Plumbing for a lot of it. He's already quoted me at $850 for installation of the one that they were going to supply. So we're looking, if we're looking at any one of those, the Sarnia Plumbing one would come in under.
I guess the question would be, what's more important to you? You want the dirt or the water? At this point, I'm thinking we hold off on the water.
There's still a spigot there.
And incorporate it into the washroom. Putting out there still, so. To me, that would make sense, but. Say it's.
Oh, that's fine with me. You give them some numbers, I can take that back. We can have a discussion about that.
Yeah, like.
More important to get the kids on the field on a diamond that's in good shape than, we've had, with the water thing for a couple of years, so. I know there's light at the end of the tunnel, but we're willing to wait on that one.
Okay, so I basically just work with these two to
Those
get
guys, sure.
your mud.
Yep.
Nobody has a problem with the mound. I don't. So that can go through.
Okay.
Top dressing you're looking after and whatever that clay was for the home plates, but yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay,
You're happy, we're happy.
I'm happy. All right, thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you for
Happy Easter, thank you.
taking the time. All right, let's get back on track to 4.1. I don't have a thing for. No, I don't have a motion for the minutes.
On a right one?
So
I'll move it.
5.1 is the drinking water thing. We're just gonna hold off on that one. Unless they come back and change their mind, but
Well, you're right, like we're putting a washroom there in the near future, potentially in that park, and you have to wait
it's not
rather than duplicating it.
Jerry rigged on to make it go.
But thank you for getting that quote.
5.2, update on the Kamlaki Community Center Centus. Assume that's you.
That is, so after our last meeting, we reached out to Centus, explaining our issues we were having and the amount of product that was, piling up at the facility. They agreed to come out and, walk through the facility with me. After I showed them where everything was lying and stacked within the community center, he did speak, go back to his office and provided us with a new agreement. Being that, we got a couple months, free, rentals and stuff and work for the overcharges in the past. Plus, the actual whole package was, far cheaper than it had been. It reduced the cost of the mats, considerably. And we held on any product being delivered to the community center until we asked them to start bringing it back in.
Questions?
So just to clarify, the next one, when we're all ready for more, that's when the freebie starts.
Actually, no, they haven't billed us for the last couple of,
Oh, okay.
months, or I guess they come every couple of weeks there.
So they're waiving the outstanding bills.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And update on the ice machine out there.
We're leaving them, they're not,
They're waiving 2 months. They're waiving 2 months on that from when
okay.
I thought I saw on the, you'll see it on the next payables,
Yeah.
a refund.
Good
I
enough.
think they issued us a refund.
Now it's like you move it.
Ice machine.
Ice machine. I've been shopping back and forth for ice machines. You can get them anywhere from $1,500 to $10,000. The problem is, I had tried to reach out and communicate with one gentleman back and forth, and he kept dropping the emails. He was not responding fast enough. Right now, I'm using into a company, I have it right here. Global, it was with this, Global Industrial. Online there, they have one $2,900. It produces about 280 pounds of ice a day. Basically, I think it holds 80 at a time in the hopper.
How much?
It'll hold about 80 pounds in the hopper at a time, but it produces about 280, something like that, 290 pounds.
What's the one there now? Do you know?
It's an isomatic. Paul and I were there today, bunkers full of ice. So it's
That'd
not,
be about the same size.
but I did look at the isomatics, they're pushing $10,000 for that specific machine. So now I'm kind of stuck on you buy something online? My fear is to buy something because it's a lower value and it lasts 2 years. That's where I get afraid of this, and I'm trying to reach out to a couple of my colleagues to find out what they're using, what they have, what they're used to using.
But we're working right now, so we're not.
It is working.
We don't have to buy today.
The hopper was full ice this morning.
May I make a suggestion?
I would love for suggestion.
Well, just because of the amount of money that we've spent on repairs in the past, I think they're $600 or $700 at a time. Would it be fair to wait until it does break down and the Optimist could maybe, if it's going to be a window of a month before we can get a new one, maybe work with some bagged ice for the time being? I think I don't want to necessarily replace that right now if it's currently working. If it stops and we got to invest another $1,000, then we really have to start thinking about getting a new machine.
Absolutely. It's exactly what I. Perfect. Volleyball court update, Lakeshore Park, 5.3. Let's do that one and then we'll go back and do the minutes.
Go ahead. To the chair. So I have been talking to this group that had requested at our last meeting to provide a third court down at Lakeshore Park for volleyball. The committee asked me to dialogue with them to see if there was anything that they were kind of willing to do to kind of come to the plate and provide either equipment or funding for that. So they have come back with a proposal. They would like to host a tournament there on May 31st. With 100% of the proceeds of that tournament coming back to this committee. They think that they can raise about $2,000. We had originally thought it would be about $3,000. So that could cover more than 50% of the cost of installing a new court. So I'm presenting that information now and seeking direction from the committee on going forward.
Great. Especially.
Sounds good to me.
Willing to, help.
Yeah. Can I ask the logistical question about the insurance again? Would that be something that's our insurance? That's covered a tournament, or they have to provide insurance for it?
Insurance covers that, doesn't it?
But if they're hosting an organized tournament though?
I could request that they get like an event type of insurance to cover them off on that.
Well, like I say, if ours covers it, then fine, but if not. They're still not really a organized.
Yeah, it's not a business.
It's our profit, so.
Yeah, from my perspective, it's a bunch of people gathering and then handing one person some money to play and then they hand it over to us. It's not a really for-profit or business thing, but I could always float the idea of maybe it might be a good idea if you're organizing something, just your liability, that you have some insurance just to cover the day.
I just know when we do the events in the parks, we had to make sure the insurance covered us because it was the town. So if there's an event being in the park and it's not the town, I'm just concerned.
I'll look into that, make sure that our bases are covered in terms of liability.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I have no. Any objections to that,
No,
no.
no, go ahead. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad they were willing to do that.
Great. Okay, we're gonna jump back to 4.1, adoption of the minutes. Once again, Alex and Nettie propose that the minutes from the Parks and Rec Committee meeting on February 20th, 2025 be approved and forwarded to council. Everybody sat down and read through them thoroughly. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Five point four. Hey, look at this. It's Nettie, then Alex.
It changes around a little bit.
Yeah,
Push up a bit.
that showed up on time. That the reports from Adam, Chief Administrative Officer, and Paul DeSilva, Director of Public Works, dated April 9th, 2025, regarding the rehabilitation of the Wyoming Pool update and formation of a fundraising committee for future replacement be received, endorsed, and forwarded to council for consideration. Assume you're talking about that?
I can, yes, through the chair. So we had a really productive meeting several weeks ago with the Lions and the Wyoming Foundation, and they've recommitted I guess their commitment to the pool, both for our rehabilitation and our eventual replacement. Under their kind of governing bylaws, they have to form a committee and come up with a fundraising plan. So that's why Adam and I drafted up this report that suggests that we do form an informal committee to look at the potential for fundraising in the future. Not only that, you'll see at the bottom of the report under the discussion or actually under the financial impacts, how we are still waiting to get our approval regarding the grant that we applied for. It's leaving us in a bit of a weird situation right now because we wanted to do this in September. We can't tender it unless we know we have the funding. But if we wait any longer to tender, we're probably not going to get it done this September. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. We don't have to make a decision on that today. But the further we get down the line, the less likely it will be that we'll be able to get this done in the fall, and more likely that it'll happen next spring.
We'll screw up everything.
potentially depending on if we have another winter like we just had.
We're gonna be on time, so.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions of Paul? Go ahead.
Has there been any discussions at all with the Lions in the foundation yet about this option of extending the life by 10 to 15 and utilizing their funds for this purpose, or that conversation hasn't had it yet?
Yeah, through the chair, it has happened and they are interested in doing that. The money that they have right now, I think they want to provide that to the town to help with the rehabilitation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dean, Eddie,
No question.
No, I don't have any questions. Needs to be done.
if we form this committee, one of yous want to sit on it. I don't want to be on it just because I'm on the lines as well, so.
Okay,
It'll put me in a goofy spot with them, but you'll do that?
sure.
Perfect.
You want to arm wrestle?
Oh, do you want to?
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Means, go ahead.
Better you than me.
My wife will kill me if I get put on another committee.
Better you than me, at least you're on time.
Good. All in favor of setting up a committee to work on?
I think Dean really should be. something.
Thanks, Nettie. 6.1 accounts. I have a motion, looks like Alex, seconded by Nettie, that the accounts as listed be received by Parks and Rec Committee, February and March payables. Who wants to go first?
First, nothing for me.
Oh. Dean, anything on February?
No,
You're looking?
I am perusing, but I don't see anything that stands out.
And how about March? Nettie, you got anything in February?
In February, yeah, so the census bills are gonna be paid for February and March, and then we get a couple free months.
Then we'll get some free ones after that, yep.
And so AW locksmith, did it take $500 to install a new battery?
Yes, ma'am. It's the door opener, it's the handicap accessible one. So it's a whole, this is not one of these big bulky door openers like this, it's all just a little battery operated one. And the battery died and the battery itself was $360 or something like that, plus his time coming out. What's it?
I was thinking of batteries.
It's part of the whole unit, and it kind of slides right up into the mechanism there to open that with the one man door.
Okay, that's the question I had too.
Okay,
All right, you've heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. That was a little. 7.1. Got a motion from Nettie, seconded by Alex, that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 11th, 2025, regarding the Canton Park. What? Isn't it?
Master plans for.
Yeah, it should be the master plan. Equipment. A motion from Alex, seconded by Nettie, that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 7th, 2025, regarding the Parks and Rec Master Plan consultant evaluation and recommendation be received, and that the proposal received by Monteith Brown Planning Consultants in the amount of $65,585 plus HST be endorsed and forwarded to council. Talk on that.
Just to say that I'm really excited to kick off this process. I think it's going to be a really positive thing for the community, and I'll bring back, once we get it kicked off, I'll bring back some additional information to this committee just to kind of describe, I guess, the stages of how it's going to go and how the committee will be involved.
Any questions? Go ahead, Alex.
I know it talks about adding value added components to the master plan for the remaining budget. Are we allowed to do that with the grant, or is the grant only to be used for the consultant costs of the master plan.
Yeah, through the chair, no, the grant would allow us to do it as long as it fell under the umbrella of a master plan or a strategic planning document. So my intent would be that as either in the beginning, kind of discuss a few options with the consultant of things that they can do, or as we're going through the process. Something might come to light at that time and say, hey, it would be really nice to also evaluate this or look into this. So that's kind of the intent with the remainder of the money.
Awesome, thank you.
No, I had all sorts of visions for that 30,000.
It's already spent. Dean, any questions? No, I like the fact that it'll be done this year and done before budget time so that the other ones were all done next spring. Like it was almost a full year to get back to us, so that was good. And there was a lot more interaction with council and public, like it just seemed to fit. So, yeah. So you've heard the motion, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Got a motion from, which one's this, 7.2? That the report by Paul DeSilva, Director of Public Works, and Chandra Session, Administrative Assistant, Public Works, dated April 7th, 2025, regarding the request proposal to supply and install playground equipment at Errol Woods Park and Blue Point Park be received, and proposals submitted by Blue Amp Recreational Equipment in the amount of $134,378.50. Net HST be endorsed and forwarded to council for approval. I guess there's some questions on this one. You want to start or? What's easier for you?
It's easier if we just take the questions, yeah.
All right, any questions of, make it a good one.
The only concern I have with the blue imp that's being recommended is the playground that's being recommended. The slide's kind of not accessible for any kid under 2 maybe, because in order to get to that slide, you have to climb on this rope ladder. And kids, moms with young kids, like toddlers, they can't really use that slide. If you look at it,
Which park's that?
Errol. Like if you look at, like, there's no stairs or access to the slide with the exception of this really narrow, flimsy
Broken climbing.
rope thing. So like, I'm just picturing moms with their 1 or 2 year old helping them slide on the slide, or toddlers. It just, I don't know how usable it is unless you're 5+ or whatever.
Yeah, go through the chair. I do see that as well, and if this motion moves forward, we could discuss with Blue making that a little bit more sub 10 years old friendly, putting in something, you know, a stairs or something there. So yeah, I do agree that could be quite challenging for, you know, toddler.
A lot of toddlers in that subdivision.
That's it.
That's it.
Dean, any questions?
No.
Maddie?
No, we have to keep these toddlers happy.
The only question, do we have room at Arrow for what's proposed?
We do.
Because it was that little corner, that's all it was.
Yes, there's sufficient room there.
We gave them the parameters and stuff there. The couple of them
Okay.
had come out and measured it and found it well, so.
Perfect. And what about the one at Blue Point? That was Blue Imp as well?
That's right. So they were tendered together. So it's kind of a package deal. We tried to put them together so we get the best pricing. We're pretty
Was it the
excited.
same? No, it wasn't the
So
same.
yeah, we're pretty excited about what I think when we did the public consultation out at Blue Point last year, I think people were really clear on what their expectations were for that park. And I think, you know, providing the shade structure and just some of the elements that they're going to be adding to the park, I think is going to be really good for the area.
Any questions on that one? Your park.
It's not. It's where I hang out.
You're the one that wanted the lights and everything. Have we done the basketball and everything out there?
That's part of all this whole package.
It's gonna be done at this time. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, you've heard the motion. All those in favor?
What if it changes the, like, if we try to fix that playground, what if it changes the price?
I don't think it's gonna change the price, no.
All right, now I'm comfortable with it.
You can say yes. Dean,
We'll trust.
Gary, thank you. Where are we at? Kent Park accessibility washrooms. Now we're. Got motion by Nettie, seconded by Alex. Report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 11th. You were busy on April 11th, 2025, regarding Canton Park accessibility washroom tender results. And the recommendation be received, and that the tender submitted by Dixon Construction in the amount of $273,600 plus HST be endorsed and forwarded to council for approval. And it is recommended that any budget overages be funded by parks reserves.
Yeah, through the chair. So I think probably the biggest thing that sticks out to everyone here is that we're over budget. That came as a bit of a surprise to both us and the consultant that we were working with on the design. However, with that said, given the amount of bidders that were interested in this project, there is probably a decent amount of value in this, even at 273. Whenever you tender something and you get this much interest, it just, the price is the price, unfortunately. So we do have recommendation that it be funded, that any budget overages be funded through Parks Reserve, and I lay out what that looks like in the financial implications at the bottom. I did have a chance to talk to the contractor about that, about some potential cost saving measures that we could implore. There is about $13,000 that we could save. I don't feel comfortable with all of these recommendations, especially switching the brick, because the whole idea behind this building is that it would kind of match the backstop that was done there some years ago. But there's other things like small electrical things that we could look at changing out just to bring the cost down.
You go ahead, Alex.
That's some enthusiasm, would you? Just a question though, I don't love. We've committed 200,000 for an AODA washroom in Kamlaki. I'm assuming that would have to come out of the infrastructure reserve. For example, if that project were to happen, we've already committed 200,000 for a washroom there, and that would come out of infrastructure reserve. I'm assuming because we don't have it. So I personally, I mean, we're not building a park. We're not replacing an existing thing. This is something new. And I don't think it should come out of our parks reserve, I'll say it. I think it should come out of infrastructure reserve for the overages.
Dean?
I have no questions.
I think it should come out of where?
Infrastructure reserve.
The overage on this. Excellent idea.
Well, I was thinking because where it is, will it be used by the public?
I would imagine
Kinda
it
like
would
this
be,
one?
yes.
So yeah, so that it's not completely a parks thing. That's more of an infrastructure thing.
So you should have been more enthusiastic when you called.
I do agree on the brick and everything. It's got to be matchy or you do it. Why are you putting something new in that looks like crap? So I would agree to that. Like say, save money on a porta john by letting them use the washrooms. That's a no-brainer. And then the sink thing, which was like a $5,000 sink.
We are gonna have the same problem with this vandalism there. You know, is there something we can do about that?
Well, through the chair, we haven't had any issues with that recently after our camera install, although I'm not sure that's exactly the reason why, but I think the intent would be to do it the same way as we do this washroom
Okay.
right now, is where why we've had a good relationship with Wyoming Minor Ball. They open it up for us and they lock it for us at the end of the night.
Okay.
Just a question. So is that the consensus of the committee? Because then we'll have to be motion will be happy as amended.
Let me guess, did
Just-
Dean and Alex move it in second?
Well, maybe we should let Dean do something.
So can we, so you just, will take out, be funded by parks reserves and
Change reserves.
send it to council for infrastructure. reserve. Well, you've heard the motion, recommended that the budget overages be funded by infrastructure reserves is the only change. Is that okay with you?
Still coming out of the reserves though,
The overages were, but infrastructure reserve.
right?
All in favor? Carried, thank you. You know what this one across the street costs? Off the top of your head?
Oh my God.
Reefs.
Bricks. 8.1,
Occupants.
gonna go really quick because we really have nothing. Blue Point Park, you know anything going on out there? Looks good. Camelot Ball was here, Highland Glen. The ramp gonna be open, I assume, for Fish and Derby.
Well, the guy launched today, but
Okay,
I watched him launch, but it's pretty shallow in there. I did reach out to Taylor Gordon. That permit does not cover early dredging, so he said he could look into it because I gave him the examples of Lambton Shores getting it for May 24th or whatever it is on a yearly basis, and so does Sarnia, but they're able to dredge early as well. So he was gonna look into that a bit.
Yeah, cause I think it'll be a next year thing. Like, I think it's a long process.
Yeah.
So I think to change our permit, like, if we start now, it'll probably be for next year to do early dredging.
That, can I just provide some? Through the chair. So we do have all our permits in place to dredge, and we can do so after the fish timing window in July. But if the water levels, they seem to be really down right now. So if they manage to come up, we might not have an issue. So, that's kind of where we're at.
I sent some from Kimlaki a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago.
Some water,
Yeah.
it managed to get its way down there eventually.
That one's out of our hands early.
so if we had like a floating shop vac and Al was in there. You still need a permit for that.
With it, maybe, perhaps not.
Lakeshore accesses, when will they be open?
A lot of them are all open, yeah. We've been working away at them. Grass has been cut. There's been some stair works done on a few of them. Our signs have been looked at. There's a couple we have to replace, and we were short a few signs, so I've ordered those.
Lakeshore and Lamrecton Parks, anything, Dean?
Fine. 2 nights.
Human Park,
The gate was up. Haven't been there.
Wide open.
Now.
We're working on the parking lot there right now.
jump over it.
I didn't want to get out of the car.
We started expanding the parking lot through the capital project. Today the posts were all put in. The rocks are in the yard down here, the boulders that we'll put in, like format that we've been using for the other parks, and the trees are Sipkin's first to pick up.
Perfect. Wyoming Ball, we just heard from Wyoming Trail. It's Mike, but walks it. And the top parks in town, any issues that we know of there? Good, no bylaws to go through. Correspondent action required. 10.1, Lakeshore Community Church. I got a motion from Nettie, seconded by Alex, that the Parks and Rec Committee direct staff to move forward with an agreement between Lakeshore Community Church and the town at zero cost for the use of Lakeshore Park August 5 to 8 on 2025 for free sports camp for the kids, and that the staff forwards the agreement to council for final approval. Brainer, all in favor? Thank you. $11.1. Condolences and congratulations policy. I think it's just for our reading, so we know. We did pass that at last. Council. It's basically just putting numbers on if somebody passes away, how much money is gonna be spent and stuff, so. It's in here, it's just so you know. Under new business, Alex, anything?
Just one quick one. Are we just repairing those posts at KMI Community Center? I think the plows accidentally knocked a couple of the posts over.
This year, yes, they'll be replaced. Eventually, I was speaking to Paul about that today, and I would like to keep that format going eventually down the road as we get the other parks done that we've recently acquired, then we can move over to like the Earl O'Neilly and stuff.
Okay, because I just noticed there was two or one or two, Dean might know that.
Yeah, I've set the one on, it was right by the laneway, I
Yeah.
just kind of set it back up.
That's all, that's why.
Dean, anything? Nothing for me. Debbie?
No, nothing, thanks.
I've got one, I was asked about, an inclusive swing. Which is for, bigger kids that are disabled. And we were willing to get one, they're about $500. And it's basically like the little kid swings, you're bigger. It's got the pull down. Like they're going on a ride. I told them I'd bring it up, talk about it. The only problem I've got is where do you put it? And most of our parks only have 2 swings with a baby swing in it, so. My suggestion is we just file it and. We know of somebody that can use it, but. Cause right now, the only one would be McKay, I would think that. Has enough swings that we can put it in, but we don't even know if there's any. The lady that asked about it. She's at Blue Point or something, we don't know, so. But we did look into it, we do have access to one if one is needed. Like I say, it looks just like the baby swing, just a lot bigger, so. Also got here, oh, yeah, I already asked you. March 26, 2025 regular meeting, it was suggested by Councillor Rodriguez that we consider adding signage relating to hazards with shelf ice at the beaches.
I just thought it'd be appropriate for it to be discussed at this committee. Because it is gonna take time, effort and material to do so. So if the committee wants us to do this, we definitely can.
Do we put closed signs up or anything like that, or they're?
Well, all of our parks, I guess, are closed.
Yeah, but those are right.
Yeah, some of them are right of ways,
Do we have anything up there about usage on them?
or
Using on risk or anything like that?
when it relates to shelf ice, I don't.
No,
think
I
so.
don't care if it's shelf life.
Did you know, Al, if we have
Anyway.
use that own risk on the beaches, the signs?
Signs up in these things anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what we have. We did at one time, we're putting up closed signs in specific spots, especially when
Where
we
you pull
Blue
it.
Point pulling the stairs and that kind of stuff, we'd close them. Yeah, outside of that, we closed the big parks. As for all the other right of ways, I can't recall if we put a sign up there or not.
Go ahead, Alex.
We've got a lot of right of ways, so I feel like it's gonna be impossible. Or nothing's impossible, but that's a lot of right of ways. So if we're to put up something up, my suggestion would be. We have Island Glen and McEwen close anyways. So I was gonna say that's where you would put it, because if people are coming to our town, that's the ones they're gonna go to. But those are closed anyways, so if it's the right of ways. Most of those folks are people who live in those areas are using those right of ways, so maybe we just include some messaging in a tax newsletter that's near winter. You talk about the dangers of shelf ice.
Perfect idea. Perfect.
And we did put something on Facebook when she had first brought it to my attention. Just did a little bit of social media saying, warning about the dangers of shelf ice. Can't even say that.
So Jess, can you make a note to put it in the fall newsletter?
Sure.
So, because we won't remember.
I think the deputy mayor has something. Get her
I
hand.
do not. No, I just think it's common sense. Just stay the heck off that ice, you know? But then you don't put your hand in an auger either, you know, and then you get blamed for not having good health and safety instructions, really, you know? And it's all common sense. I just don't understand some things.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do with that one. General updates, ball hockey will be starting April 21st. There's a couple hundred kids into that. She was telling us tonight. Soccer is May 20th, and they're again looking at a couple hundred kids. Oh, here's Highland Glen's been opened. And the Blue Water Angler Salmon Derby will run May 2nd to May 11th. Did we get a request for free
Yes.
this year? And we agreed to it?
I think a suggestion, perhaps we reach out to them and let them know ahead of time that the reason it's so shallow is because we cannot dredge until whatever date. That way it's clear that. we're not- we're not
$50,000 it's gonna cost us to dredge it.
Just be, otherwise you guys are getting a bunch of phone calls, so it'd be nice to get ahead of that and let them know that, yeah, the water's shallow. We can't dredge it, but we wanted to.
We just do like a Facebook post.
Or if we-
We could reach out to them directly, but like, I think,
direct-
we did post on Facebook already that the Highland Glen was open and we did put something in there saying the water levels are low.
I'm thinking more so specifically for the Derby,
Yeah.
just so that the Derby organizers aren't sending people to Highland Glen and then they show up and it's.
No, it's 30 foot.
Yeah.
There's about, I dip the water at the end of the plank walk or whatever you wanna call it, it's 2 feet.
Yeah.
So shallow, small boat can get in there,
Yeah.
none of the big boats.
That way they don't promote it internally as a place to launch.
Hey, you got anything under new business?
I think we covered enough tonight.
Yes. You're good. Gee. Didn't take long once Dean showed up. The motion by Alex, seconded by Nettie, that the Parks and Rec Committee meeting be adjourned and the next regular meeting be set for May 15th, 2025. All in favor?
We'll send you.
It's gonna say no now. We keep it up. Yeah, the meeting will be open for 3 more days. Thank you, Dean, for racing out here. Sure is